So I just went to see The Martian about the other day, and I just want to say it was a fantastic movie. It had a lot of metaphysical things in the movie. First off, Mars is ruled by the sign Aries, and there's a lot of references to Aries in the movie, particularly the Aries like landing post. They mentioned it like 2 times. So they really want to draw that influence that Mars is associated with the astrology sign zodiac Aries. If you look into the character Matt Damon, he has personality traits throughout this movie that's very Aries-like. And he often says through the movie, like, he's the first to do this. He's like the first to walk here. He's the, first to pioneer here. Aries is a pioneering, self-starting sign. So throughout this movie, Matt Damon is really like a one-man everything. Like, he fixes and re-innovates, re-engineers, like, pretty much all the crap that he's left with. He's basically, the premise of the movie is like his crew leaves him for dead and they think he's dead, but of course he's not. Throughout the movie, it's just his way of trying to survive and get off the planet. So it's a very interesting movie. It's a very metaphysical movie, and there's a lot of inferences drawn to the sign zodiac Aries. Like the first opening scene, I'll say this, a little spoiler alert, he gets, like, when they leave him for dead, he has like a wound. He has something in his abdomen, and the first scene you see him like waking up from it, crew left. He's got this pole thing stuck in him. He goes into, where their base is, and he basically performs surgery on himself. Like, he has to do this in order to survive. So right there in the very beginning of the movie, they show you with manual dexterity and him performing surgery, and that's very Mars-like. Often, Mars is attributed with like things of the handcrafts, things that you do with your hands, surgery, medical, scientific, definitely dealing with the body, very action-oriented, very, energetic. But yeah, it has a lot of links to surgery, and he performs like surgery in the first scene of the movie, so I thought that was interesting. So that's the first scene, to let you know what's going on. There's another scene throughout the movie later on that I really like. That's kind of more towards like middle end, or should say end. But another spoiler alert here. The captain, the commander, she leaves him the first time. She's very remorseful throughout the film. They have a chance to go get him, and there's a scene where he's like in mid-space, and he's just like on this red cord, like, he's in space, and basically they're both in space, and she's trying to haul him attached to one freaking red cord. It's a very emotional, very power-driven scene, and it's like, it makes you think, wow, like, you just want it to be successful, because it's very emotional. Because I feel like in that scene it was metaphysical, because it was symbolic of a lost baby. She really was treating it like she lost a baby or lost a child, or, he was abandoned, she abandoned him, and then she had a chance to make it right. So it was like this mother trying to, reclaim the abandoned child. And it was just like a phenomenal scene. I really felt like it went right to motherhood, because they're in space. Space is like, symbol to a womb. And he's on like this bungee cord, like the umbilical cord. She's holding like this red cord that's like symbol of the umbilical cord, and she's trying to wrap him. She's trying to basically get him to come to her so they can go back to the ship. But it's just like the way it happens, it's just, it almost doesn't happen, and it's just so many things that was going wrong. It was like a dance. So, but it reminded me of birth. Like, she's trying to salvage her, this child that she messed up on the first time. So I thought it was very good scene, a very powerful scene. The movie overall is a good movie. Like, references to the metaphysics in there. Like I said, the planet is the sign Aries. Now, in the zodiac, there is a higher octave of the Mars. We know Mars very popularly from, Star Trek, the series Vulcan. That's a good example of Mars. Like, these people are very scientific based. They're very military, very energetic, very dealing with the hands and science. but also there's a higher energy of Mars, which is Pluto. And they mentioned Pluto briefly. I mean, spoiler alert 3. Matt Damon finds Pluto radioactive element in the Earth. And if he did not find that, he would not have survived, because there's an issue with his battery. He didn't know how to solve it. So it's kind of the influence of the higher military planet Pluto helping out the lower military planet, you know, aka Mars, Aries. Like basically Scorpio helped out Aries when it came down to it, because you know that's the planet. Scorpion rules that planet. And so plutonium, I want to say about plutonium, it's actually very dangerous. No human is supposed to go near it, because they say in the movie that you could die. But Matt Damon's not afraid. He's an Aries, so he's gonna, you know, dare to use it. And he used it with respect. And if you use Pluto's energies with respect, it's a very extreme planet. It will protect you, will save you. He was able to use that, harness that energy to save his life. So it's kind of a message. What you think is dangerous is not really if you use it with respect. If you want to use it for good. And that's the moral of, you know, the story here. He does it right. He does it right throughout the movie. I mean, there are some keys to his arrogance based to the Aries sign. He's, you know, he can be very prideful. And there were like scenes in the movie where his arrogance got disciplined. And like the ghost of Mars, if you say, like the spirits of Mars tested him. He was getting like really haughty when he thought he was making water. He was like, almost, I felt like the character almost said Eureka. It's this like scene in the beginning. He makes water. And he's about to like really do like some shimmy dance, and then all of a sudden this fire just like poof, it just goes bigger and blows up in his face. Like that's basically the ghosts of Mars, the spirits of Mars. They're telling you like, yeah, you can't get too prideful on our own planet. Like number one, like they liked him, his zest, but don't get too prideful, because he's getting way, you know, overconfident. So this movie definitely teaches you not to be overconfident, because you know he was definitely having elements of that. He was just so good at what he was doing, just like surviving there, because, you know, he's Matt Damon. He's an Aries archetype on Mars, and that's, he's basically in his element, surviving. So the last bit of this movie, I'll say, the last bit of pride and arrogance comes, spoiler alert, for he grows like potatoes. He's able to grow Irish potatoes on Mars. I'm gonna say Martian potatoes. But he gets so overzealous, like he has enough food really, like he really doesn't need the food from NASA that they're going to drop off. He has enough to last them until NASA makes the drop off. Like he'll have more than enough potatoes still to last him. And he's just like really grooving. He's like feeling, yeah, like I did this, you know, he impressed NASA, like he's surviving. And then one night, the whole shit blows up, basically. Like, the whole thing blows up in his face. Like, he don't have no crops. I'm gonna get into detail, but the shit is just not there anymore. It is just like, this very, the humility is definitely an understatement. This character is demoralized, if you want to say. But he doesn't stay that way for long. Like, this guy's personality characteristics is perfect to the sign Zodiac Aries. I mean, he's constantly revitalizing himself with the energy. In fact, he's on Mars, so he's got like enough to, you know, spirit to be able to do that. And he comes back with other ideas to survive. So I'll leave you with this. Like, it was a great introduction into space, a very simple story. You don't have to know about the space jargon. So you're gonna love the movie for that. And it's a great movie to kind of get you into astrology, into astronomy, the zodiac, the signs. It's very, you know, the symbols are there if you pick it out. I love what he says at the end of the movie. He says that he had a choice to die. Like he thought he was gonna die there, and then he thought, you know what, you know, I may not die. Let me try something else. Let me just try to solve problems. He said you can get to thinking your life is over and accept death, or you could just start to begin. You can start to begin your life, and how you do that is by solving one problem at a time. And if you keep solving problems, like he was solving like problem after problem, he was able to get his way off the planet. You know, spoiler alert 5, he survives. So he's saying this at the end of the movie, but he was able to begin his new reality into surviving. And you can only do that if you start to use your mind in order to solve solutions. You can't really give up hope on yourself. It is like, you know, pedal to the metal, as they say in like another space movie, Galaxy Quest. Shout out to Galaxy Quest. But basically, yeah, he had to begin solving problems, and that's when his life started to begin, really, to create this new reality of survival. And he couldn't reserve his mindset to just accepting death anymore. And when he used it in that fashion, you know, you don't really think about fear so much. You're constantly like a computer, multi-talented, dimensional, spiritual, spatial computer, just trying to figure out how to solve your problems. And he had like a lot of mathematical engineering problems that he was solving one by one. He had to solve them one by one. It wasn't like, you know, and he was able to do that. So it was something that I took as a lesson in life. When you think all is, you know, going, or, you know, you think that you're not going to have the reality that you want, just really start list your problems and just start solving them one by one, like literally like how Matt Damon says, and don't accept defeat, and just like really go with like solving it one by one. And you eventually, with that determination and that zest, you'll get to where you need to get to. So it was a great movie, great message. See The Martian. I like it better than some other movies they did about Mars. It's really likable story, character. This movie makes you feel for the character, which is good. Like in the movie, it's kind of, you know, everyone rallies for him, but in the audience, you feel the same way. So they did this movie very superbly for you to identify with the character. So it's Joy. I want to say I love seeing The Martian this weekend.